Hello, welcome back to Talk Football Podcast. This is part 2 of our TFP hashtag 13 with Tommy Haddon. And we're going to start talking about, the daily challenges of actually like running the club at this level and that as well. Adam has got some interesting questions that he's sort of set up that we're going to, meander into the conversation with Tommy and, all about basically how a club will run and stuff like that. So yeah, Adam, over to you.
Right, first question I've got is, how do you foster a winning mentality while managing the realities of the part-time semi-professional football?
What a great structure.
What a question. Yeah, what a question.
Because as you know, that people have got jobs as well, etc. How do you manage all that?
So yeah, especially on a weekday game, if we're going to do it, if you're going to break it down to having you've got a Tuesday game and a Saturday game. The Saturday it's a bit more easier because 9 times out of 10 they're off work. We can foster the whole get in there and on set time and no problem. Weekdays, you've got to allow a bit. Like for instance, next Tuesday we are playing away at a team called East Preston, and they are probably an hour and 20 minutes from my house in Seaford. They've got to get through a town called Worthing. I don't know if you know Worthing, but it's notorious for horrendous traffic. Yep, there you go. It's horrendous traffic to get through.
Can be an absolute nightmare.
So with stuff like that, Adam, you've got to say to them, look, and it's a 7:30 kickoff, would you believe, as well? They didn't do an 8 or a 7:45, they did a 7:30. So we've got to be there for 6:15, and that isn't going to happen. So the mentality on that side of things of being committed and turned up is driven by the lads really and the captain, but us as well have always been on time. I pride myself on my timekeeping, and I think if you set the standards yourself and you're well presented, you turn up on time, you lead the way the right way, I think that others will follow, and I think the ones that follow are the ones you probably want in your squad, in and around it. When it comes to on the pitch stuff and how we do things and mentality and maybe breeding winning and stuff like that, that comes again from standards and the lads demanding off each other in the right way. I won't have any dickheads with my squad, excuse the language, or wankers or whatever you want to say. I won't have that. I don't care if you're the best player in Southeast England, in England, in whatever. I just, if you're going to be a bad egg that'll upset the apple cart or however all them cliches you want to say, I just think, it's not worth having them in there. I'd rather have 16, 20 lads that will dig deep for me than 10 that will and 8 that are just, doing what they want and 2 that think they're superstars. It's just not really worth it. I think for me, it's about creating not a clan, because I don't want to be seen as, us against the world, but a mentality of each other where we are going to dig deep for each other. And that goes a lot into our pre-match prep. We actually do. So tonight, it's lucky you said 8 o'clock tonight, because at 7 o'clock, the lineup goes out tonight. So the lineup's already out. The lads have seen the lineup tonight. They know who's playing where. They know who's doing what. They've got their team pack of information that we drop in the WhatsApp group. It was done by the analytic guy, Charlie, who I previously talked about in part 1 of this. He does a breakdown of the opposition. That's all in there tonight. They know their team duties. They know what they've got to do. So basically tomorrow's off for us. We've got a day where we can relax, and Saturday they'll turn up and they know exactly what needs to be done. They get the information overload on a Saturday. They are fresh-minded. It's in there for them. They can look at it any point during the day tomorrow and Saturday morning. They can go over it without ringing me, talking to me, which they can do, but they can do it on themselves. And that comes from, again, us being prepped, gives them the chance to go, well, they're ready. Am I ready to play? I want to dig deep. I want to do this for them. They've done all they can off of the pitch. Now we need to go and deliver on the pitch. And I think that is all part of that wider question that you've asked there, is making sure that you prepare yourself.
That blows my mind. Like that.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes, then, isn't there? A lot going on behind the scenes that you don't realise. That's crazy. It's like yesterday. I went to watch Mickle over at Lichfield yesterday, and because there was traffic, it delayed the kickoff.
Yeah,
because there was a huge because they'd shut the roads off. The main road directly to Lichfield, they shut off, so you couldn't get there.
That's the worst. As a gaffer, as a management team, if you're standing, because obviously we're normally there about 40 minutes before if it's an away game, we're normally there 40 minutes, 45 minutes before the lads turn up. We set the change room up, make sure that everything has to look how we want it. Everything is done no matter what. There is no excuses. So they turn up and they know. But if you get a message through, there's been a crash and we're running late. I mean, that as a gaffer, that's horrendous. As a management team, that's horrendous, because then you're going, well, if he doesn't make it, who can we do here? The main one is the goalie going to make it. I know it sounds, but the goalie is so important. Is he going to make it?
Pull your gloves on.
Yeah, well, I've done that before at the previous level. Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing that again. It's all those little things that are out. The controllables, we know we can control, and that's important to us. The uncontrollables, they're the ones that panic us the most as a management team. But we're all very level-headed and steady blokes. We know what we can do, hopefully, if something occurs, and we try and put our heads together and go, well, what can we do? How can we get out of this? How can we do this? But yeah, when it go back to the organisation, I mean, it starts all week. I mean, it's literally all. Sunday's probably the only day we don't talk that much. We still talk on the WhatsApp group between the management team, but other than that, we are talking. I mean, training is Tuesday normally if we haven't got a game. So Monday, we're talking about what happened on the Saturday, who's going to be in the training squad for Tuesday, because we have to, because I said before in part one of this, we've got 170 blokes. They can't all come to training. So we have to pick a squad of 22 to work with, 20 to 22 to work with. So we have to go through that on a Monday. Yeah. Tuesday is obviously training and planning training. Wednesday is planning the squad, who's going to be in the squad. That's me messaging. I message all the lads who aren't going to make the squad. I voice note them, not the 170, the ones, the core that I work with on a regular. I'll voice note them and say, look, I'm sorry for whatever reason, this has not worked out this week. And then on the Thursday, during my lunch breaks and during the day, I'll message the ones that are on the bench, for instance, who say you've started Adam last week and Hodgie, you've been on the bench and it was the other way around this week. I'd message you individually and I'd message you individually and I'd explain why. And then in the evening, what happens if what I've just said about is the lineup goes out, the player pack. And then Friday really is the management team just discussing probably this week the bloody weather and are we going to be on and should we get a friendly for the following week if we've called off and stuff like that. I mean, it's a full-time job, unpaid. Our players don't get paid. I don't get paid. We get no expenses, nothing. This is literally out of our own love. There are teams in our, don't get me wrong, there are teams in our league that pay lots of money and that's fine. Again, that's their own thing, how they work. We don't do it that way, unfortunately, at Ringmer, but lots of teams do. But it's all done off the love, and it is a full-time job, unpaid. It really, really is.
Full-time job on top of having a full-time job.
I'm running my own business and a family and everything else, right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was the reason. That was the reason for my question, because of what happened yesterday at Mickle. So I thought, that's going to be an unbelievable question to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to know what goes off behind the scenes, but you don't realise all that's going off.
It's all the time.
You're just sat here doing your main.
Yeah, I only became aware of how much in terms of the analytics now, because there's a young lad I follow on TikTok called Adam Anselm, and he's just starting out his career in terms of.
I've seen him, yeah. I've seen him.
And he's quite good. His content's quite good, and he was actually at one of the local clubs that I started doing the match day vlogs at, which was Rains Park Val, and
I've seen Rains Park,
with them and with Kingstonian because they're ground share, and it was only really then I started becoming aware of I'm like. What, analytics at that level as well? I'm like, wow, that's bad. I mean, obviously, I was aware of the video cameras and that because you see them there at the ground, and that's how they get your clips about and what goes up on the YouTube channels, etc. But I never really knew that just how the level of depth. I mean, it's blown my mind.
Yeah, well, there's that again. There's 2 or 3 things to pick up. There's more level to depth to it. Is the laundry room and doing the laundry and picking that up and picking all stuff up in my van and driving to the game if it's away, or organising with the second team manager. Look, these players are going down this week, so can he? He needs to start. He needs to play. He's unavailable. And then he has to go talk to the thirds and the fourth team manager. It's all that with the VO. The good thing about VO is you can watch the game, like you say, back in the evening, or we can watch it live on the iPad as we watch it in the dugout. But also, when we get a red card now, we're using it as VAR. And that's been really, really helpful at times because, I see your face there, Adam. We've had 1 red card overturned this season already because it was the wrong decision. It actually cost us the game. A goalie got sent off and gave away a penalty. They scored the penalty. We lost the top of the league 1-0 to that penalty. Godalming, up near you, actually. We lost them 1-0, and we got the VO footage and we sent it to the FA, and they said, that shouldn't have been a red card and got overturned. It didn't help with the result, don't get me wrong, but
no, but at least
even the VO
to have back.
Yeah, but have that VO now. We've got our goalie back, and with the suspension was overturned, and that VO is so crucial. Also, it's crucial for our training sessions. Our training sessions are structured around what happened on the Saturday. If we won 4-0, okay, it's a little bit more easier. If we lost 4-1, it's a little bit more difficult. We go into the VO, we have a look where we can break down and where we can do training sessions and how we can work on things. And we get an hour and a half of training. The first half an hour is done with Tabitha, the strength and conditioning coach I told you about. She's unreal. She'll do the first half hour. Then the hour after is us working on upcoming game or problems we're having during a bad period of run. Say for instance, with form this season where we didn't win in 6, we had to break things down a little bit and go back to basics. And yeah, I mean them VOs and the instant replays and all that sort of stuff, they're really, really good to have. Really good to have.
So, because obviously you saw a red card the other night, didn't you, Hodge? That Cosharton one.
Yeah, I mean, me personally,
I wonder if they've used that. They use that as well. I wonder if they've got a Vivo. Did they have one?
Yeah, they did have one. Yeah, I mean, literally every club has them now. Yeah, every club has.
Mickleover doesn't.
Wow.
Mickleover doesn't have one. No.
Wow.
I've never seen one.
Really? I think you find on that gantry on the opposite side of the pitch from the stand. I think you'll find it's there because it was when I came up. It was there.
When there's an away team,
that might be the away. Yeah, it might be the away team.
Yeah, away team bring them,
it?
But I've never seen Mickleover like when they've played a team.
Well,
they've never got one up in the middle.
You need to be having a word with whoever's going to succeed Don, because
get me in. Get me in.
You might. Well, not only that. I mean, yeah, get a job. But
no, but say now about them cameras though. You think that the FA, after you've done that though, Tommy, you think, oh, hold on a minute. This might help us in the long run.
Maybe that should be made regulation.
Yeah, like a sponsor. They sponsor the FA. They give them the device. Give all the clubs the device.
I mean, it would. I totally agree with you. I mean, also it would really help. It's not here to, again, we can sit here and bash referees, and I'm not that person, and I'm not that manager. No, if we lose, it's never
as it is.
Exactly. If we lose, it's never the referee's fault. There might be a decision in the game where I don't agree with the referee, but 9 times out of 10, the actual wider period of the game, if you watch the whole game back on VO, you'll see that one decision didn't really affect the whole game. Having said that, the one decision I talked about did affect the game, and I get that. That's once in a blue moon, but 9 times out of 10, the referees are excellent, and they're trying to do a job that really I wouldn't want to do it. Nobody I want to do it, and it's not here to bash referees, the VO, but what it could be good for, and like you said there, Adam, is to break down decisions in game and give the referee also protection, right? If there's a moment in the game where there's a bit of bad behaviour or something happens, the VO is so good at picking up sound and the picture of it, obviously, as well, that can be really helped. I agree. I think the FA should look, long and hard into helping clubs at least fund a VO, because they're not cheap. They really aren't cheap.
They're not.
They're well expensive.
Also, because you have to have I believe you need all the subscriptions
licenses
as well.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah, to access all the footage on the cloud and all that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it device then subscription? Is it? You still have to pay for the device, I think, as well.
Yeah,
correct.
I think you pay for the device. Yeah,
you pay for the device, the stand, and then the subscription. If you want to watch it live, it's even more money. You have to pay for it monthly or yearly, and that's every year. And then the subscription again afterwards. And if you have a certain amount of teams, you have to pay for a certain amount of teams for subscription. It's not just one package.
That's ridiculous.
I know it is, but it's a real help, and I say it helps us with our football and our team, the way we want to play and our ethos, but also helps look at the opposition, also helps the referees, right? So I think the FA should look into it.
Yeah, I mean, Adam set a really interesting question, and I think this actually leads into the breakdown and the analysis and that you put into it as well. And what the question was is do you adapt your tactics when playing on different pitches, e.g. 3G compared to like grass and that? Does that affect the way you analyze and look at the game and how you're going to set up?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over, right? If it's not working, you've got to do, I think as a gaffer, you've got to be adaptable. We are a 3G team. I'm fully aware of that. We're very good on 3G. That said, you put us on grass, especially in the middle of January where it's been raining, or middle of February like now it's been raining. It's horrendous, and we've got to adapt. And you absolutely, as I said before in part one, again, we're not a long ball team, and we don't do long ball. But sometimes you have to hit a certain channel just to play a certain way and on a certain pitch, and unfortunately that is part and parcel of it. I mean, I see the benefits of grass pitches. I see the benefits of a 3G pitches. 3G pitches is on all year.
This Saturday, you've got Oakbrook away,
Oakwood,
which is a grass pitch, isn't it?
Yep. Won't be on.
And you don't think so?
No.
I'm hoping so. I want to come.
I know you do, but I can't see it.
But no, I mean, obviously, my it's not a million miles from here. You're not that far from me, really, and the weather's been horrendous. It's pissing down now, but so I'll be gutted if it's off. I mean, they're not. I've been checking their website like for updates and stuff like that, and at the moment, nothing's been said. But obviously, pitch inspection will be probably, I don't know, probably Friday.
I spoke to one of their players today, and he said there's about 3% chance it'll be on. So
wow.
We'll have to see what happens. I mean, again, I play it by ear.
Yeah, in that case, would you look at like setting up trying to get like a local friendly or something like that, just to keep that momentum going in terms of like your players' match fitness and stuff?
So going back to that original question of 3Gs and grass pitches, the problem with having a 3G pitch is that it's all constantly booked out. Like it's constantly booked out. There's constantly teams playing it. Plus, we've got the four other senior teams who are playing on it. We are having a second 3G installed down the side. We're having that put in. Hopefully, should be finished by August. So that'll open up more slots. Hopefully, yes. Scenarios like this weekend, we can continue. And for instance, on Tuesday, we had to keep the second team training off to play our game against Hastings and the under-18s after us because they train after us. I had to move them. We had to move them around and find them different slots because we needed to get a friendly in. And a lot of people at the club don't like that when I do that, but I can't help it. The first team is the flagship team, and we need to play games of football, and momentum in football, as we all know, is absolutely key. We're flying at the minute. We're second in the form table. We've not lost in 7 games. We need to continue that form. Otherwise, we'll be dragged into the wrong end of the table if we let it slide. So again, going back to the grassroots, the grass pitches and the 3D pitches, we do adapt. Both bring pros and cons, and it's how you see things. I mean, we're lucky to have the analytic team who analyse Oppo up and give us, how they're going to play. We think roughly, and again, but non-league football, that player might not be available to them. They might get stuck in traffic, Adam, as we've talked about. You just don't know on the day what's going to happen. But as long as you've got a rough idea, a basis, and I always say this, as long as you've got, me and our management team always say, as long as we've got our plan in place, the rest we can adapt. Right? We're not turning up blind. That's the worst.
Well, this is going on to my next. This is going on to my next question. So, on about managing the players with jobs, how would you manage their workload to prevent injury or burnout with obviously the jobs and all the traveling, etc.
Yeah, and obviously
the pitches as well.
Yeah, and obviously age as well plays a part of it. We've got some lads. We've got a couple in their 30s. One's 34, is our oldest player in the first team at the minute. The youngest lad is 16. So there's a very different range of age between them and where they are in their career, their journey, if you like, their non-league football journey. Careers off pitch obviously play a massive part in that. Do they work as a builder all day like myself, or are they an office job where they've got a little bit more energy, but they've probably been a bit stiff sat on a computer all day? Yeah, look, all those sort of things, especially when at the beginning of the season, Adam, we came into this, and last season when we were step 7, it was Saturday football only. Never played during the week. It was just purely Saturdays. Now, when we came into step 6, the first 12 weeks were literally Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. We didn't train for 12 weeks. We didn't train. We just played games. Oh. I mean, it was just intensity was insane. Not being able to sleep because adrenaline's running on a Tuesday night after games, and that plays a part. That's just for me. I can only imagine what it was like for the players, bless them, and the way they got through that by themselves was fantastic. The way they adapted was fantastic. And you have to have a depth in squad. You have to have... The players didn't like it when we rotated. There were lads that had played for me for long periods, like years I'm talking, who were regularly for me. And they were finding themselves on the bench on a Tuesday night away at Jarvis Brook, for instance, because we had to rotate. Because what we didn't want to do was burn out. Again, burning out players, trying to keep them fit and focused and have plenty in the tank was crucial. And talking to my physio, Lydia, and my strength conditioning coach, Tabitha, that's important. They know how to push a human body and where you can find extra 1% here and there. And also lads getting them back, again, having them physiotherapists, the diagnosis straight away as soon as they feel something. My hammy's a bit tight, or my ankle's a bit... Her there straight away to go, yeah, it's okay, it's impact. Or, no, you're going to need a little bit of rest. You should probably sit this one out, whatever. Is so crucial to have and so important. And us as a management team talking to each other and understanding, little bit individual players. I think he needs a break. I think he needs this. I think they need that. me talking to players individually. How are you feeling? How are you feeling in yourself? Are you okay? Are you tired? Like that man management is, I would say, 70% of this, in my opinion. In my opinion, personally, as a gaffer,
like I never admitted to injuries. If I was carrying a niggle and all that, and like back when I was playing, when I didn't get to a massively high level, I was playing sort of like reserve team. Well, probably be like your equivalent to like your third team, at that non-league level. But you always wanted to play, so and there weren't no strength and conditioning and physiotherapists and that around. So like if I was carrying an ankle knock, and even if I was like 70%, there's no way I'm going to say, look, I'm not quite feeling it this week, because you just don't want to give up that shirt. So yeah, I mean, having those people available to you now at that level that's incredible, because like you say, I mean, because you're going to want that player to play. You need your best players on the pitch, but when you have that, you have that side of the coaching can go, hang on, pump the brakes.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
he needs to have a week off from this. We need to get him back into that peak physical level. Otherwise, we're gonna, we could like burn him out, nosedive him, injuries. So yeah, it blows my mind, the level of like.
So the level of preparation. In theory, it's taking a bit of pressure off the manager then, really, because it must upset you that thinking, right, I've got to drop you because you're not fit enough, or etc. It must upset you like mentally as well. So you don't want to upset that player or that team.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I think that's part of management, right? I'm a person that I don't really care what people think about me, as long as you're not hurting my family. I don't really.
Yeah.
The reason I'm on TikTok and Instagram is because I don't really. I mean, I have got trolls. I've got Twitter trolls. I've got TikTok trolls who troll me on a weekly basis, and it doesn't really bother me. I'm quite thick-skinned.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
Yeah, of course you do, exactly, right. And I've got no hair, so that doesn't help, because that's an easy target, and as we know. But when it comes to players, and that's the hardest part, Adam, you're absolutely right. I've had to drop 4 players tonight completely from my squad, and one of them was a huge part of last season, and at the moment he's just struggling a little bit for confidence, and to have those conversations with those players is really difficult. I don't like doing it. I think it's the hardest part of management, personally, having to ask a lad to go and play in the reserves, try and find a bit of confidence. You're kind of killing his confidence when you're trying to give him confidence. You're asking him to go down a level to play football, to then come back up to get confident. It's not easy.
So there we are, guys. That's part 2. So we had a few technical glitches in between, like the cameras were going a bit fuzzy. So I do apologise for that. And we're cutting it here because it was a very long pod. So we are splitting it into another part, which is part 3. So this has been part 2 of #13. So please stick around and please watch part 3. It's unbelievable to have Tommy Haddon on, and I was so excited to have him on, as well as Hodge. But yes, we'll see you on the next part 3, guys. And thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Cheers.